So it's been a while. I haven't been posting on this channel, and I've been busy with my own life. Initially, I stopped posting one day, and turned to two, three, and you know, lo and behold, after a couple years, I stopped posting. But thank you for being subscribers for this amount of time. So, General Milley, he's one of the chief architects of our failure in Afghanistan. This guy right here, look at his facial features. He's a careerist. At some point, you're gonna be a careerist, whether you do 4 or 25 years. I was in the Marines. A lot of you probably don't know about this, but I was in from '09 to 2015. I've met the majority of the people in the Marines I've met in retrospect have been decent. There was a lot of people who were self-serving and didn't really care much about um, their fellow Marines. A lot of them were my staff and SEALs. This is why I never made a career out of it. But let's stop digressing about me and let's focus on this guy. This guy is in a high position in our military, and one of the things that he said a couple years back that if we were to go in a nuclear war with China, he would warn his counterpart in China because he thinks that that's what's best for our country. However, he wants to justify it. I think he's just playing the political game, and now he's coming back to save his legacy. And yeah, he can wear the uniform after he got out, so technically he's not wrong about that. But morally, he's a bankrupt and corrupt individual. He only cared about himself. He didn't care about anyone else beside himself and his career. He put that before his men, before Americans. That's something you're fundamentally taught not to do. You're not allowed to put yourself above people. That's totally unbecoming of a leader. And just because you're a loyalist or a PFC or a private, if two PFCs are walking, one of them is in charge. That's what I've been taught. And leadership means you're taking care of people who are under you. That's always been what I've been taught in the U.S. military. He doesn't do that. He doesn't exude any of that at all. At this point, he's just out for himself. He's trying to make money. He's trying to sell a book or whatever. And what he did, his debacle in Afghanistan and his total politicization of his office, it's destroying our country. It's destroying our nation as a whole. And a lot of these people are just weak and just self-serving men. They don't want to make that sacrifice. They don't want to plant that tree that's going to grow 100, 200 years down the line. They don't want to make that. They don't want to make that jump. All they want to do, and that's kind of sad. I feel sad for them because I see the contrast between me and them. They don't see 1 or 2 generations ahead. They only see 1 to 2, 10 to 20 years. Hey, I'll enjoy this nice retirement. I'll get this nice fancy boat after I retire. Go to those fancy dinners. They don't care about the sacrifice. So a bit about my family. I'm a family of immigrants, and the thing that's been emphasized with me is family history and legacy, where I come from. My father struggled. My grandfather has struggled. My father, in he fought in his independence war, ironically against the United States. Well, by proxy, it was Pakistan, but he won that war. My grandfather, he survived World War II. Thankfully, he wasn't a soldier, but the British did just like destroy our crops, and he had to be a blacksmith during that time. So I got those stories from my grandmother, and before that, we were always suffering. Farmers end up suffering under harsh taxation by the British or whatever, and we're minorities in that country. But now, we persevered, we won, and that's a story that's been told to me. And everyone in my family is extremely motivated. But what I want to delve deep in is just this mindset of, not looking that far into the future. I'm planning for not only my kids, but my grandkids. How am I going to make sure that they are well off after this? Right now, I'm starting a family in this economy. I'm a bit luckier than most. I'll be honest with that. I have a good family and a good support system. And throughout my life experiences, I'm not trying to get my life started. And hopefully, I get I do my thing, start my family. But this is the thing that it just bothers me about America. It's just people like this at the top, just don't care that far into the future, you know. And what happens is that apathy trickles down to the like the lower levels. People cannot, it's kind of hard living day to day. People are living paycheck to paycheck, and governments are living from bailout, war to war. Banks are living bailout to bailout, and that just trickles down to the lower levels. And this is a prime example of a idiot, and he's not a leader. He's not a leader in my book. He shouldn't be wearing that uniform or those stars. Now, our opposition, you know, the T's and the R's, they're they're doing pretty well. They have good leadership, whether you like them or not. They're our enemy and our opposition in the long run. Our rivals. Ideally, they actually are our rivals. Our enemies. We just made them our enemies because circumstances. And unfortunately, that's what happens. That's war, and now we made peace with one of them at least. But we need to make peace. That's how we're gonna make do this. We're gonna hope for peace, but prepare for war. And they are forming an alliance in Asia. And if that happens, like before the 70s, there wasn't that much. It wasn't that developed. The hippie road, the hippie trail went all the way from London and it went through Tehran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The hippies got high over there. It was a magical time. I could imagine. You just take a bus from London, and next thing you're in Goa in a couple of days. You go through the mountains of Afghanistan. It seemed like a magical time. It wasn't that long ago. Ironically, things kind of went haywire after 1971. A lot of things did. We got off our gold backed currency, and it was one of it's the war that my father was involved in, the 1971 Bangladesh War, which I I don't want to say that's the pivot point, but it is a good footnote in that, ironically, in that year, 1971, the Russians confronted the Americans, and the Russians ended up winning. An American ally lost a big chunk of their country, rightfully so, and now they're in a they after that their economy just went to crap, and they don't have any leg to stand on. See, they're making a lot of inroads. Say whatever you want about them. Their leadership is pragmatic at this time. Surely they were more radical and just closed-minded back then, but they're actually doing something compared to whatever we call our leaders. These guys just care about their own personal and family legacies. They don't see that far in between. They don't want to because they resent us. They resent us because of their insecurities. They know we hate them. They know we don't like them. They have they have the same resentment, the same insecurities, and they're trying to just hold on to power. And they're pathetic. I see them as pathetic, these people. How are you doing this? You're holding us in bondage while you do this, while you steal from us, while you use your corruption to destroy our coffers, the precious lives of our Marines, our men and women in arms, our soldiers, our sailors, these people who signed up to come home to the possibility of coming home in a bag. This is what they did. This is what at some point, yeah, I even thought about. That's a sacrifice that a vast majority of the volunteers in this military want to do. All right. Another thing they want to do is starting to draft people because people don't want to join the military. Who wants to join a service where they hate you? It's disgusting. It's just like, why would you want to do this? They're gearing up for war. They want people to join them for whatever crap war they're gonna fight with, you know, probably the BRICS nations. Just give me 1 second. This is a map of the BRICS. I don't think they're as strong as we'd assume they are. They're being stronger day by day. China and Russia are pretty much the people who want to create it as a separate bloc, and possibly even South Africa. India's the outlier. I'll be honest with you. India has their beef with China. India goes their own way. Like, they're on their own MGTOW. Their biggest opposition is The biggest rival in the long term is China, but short term, their whipping boy is Pakistan because Pakistan had been the rival for a long time, and now it's just now it's not even a rival, and it's just there. And these countries, the leadership in these countries, like how atrocious, like how are you that atrocious as leaders? Like how are you so pathetic? Like, come on, get your stuff together. Seriously, get it together. Try to fix our country. You have open borders. They're purposely destroying our country because they want to stay in power. Trust me, that's not going to work out for them. In the long run, truth and the right thing, there's always a balance in the world. No matter how much you're trying to imbalance, and like this mass like migration, there's gonna be a pushback. There's gonna be a massive pendulum swing in the future. Like it's gonna happen. It's already happening in this countries. I think in England's probably a lost cause, but France, there's gonna be a time where people just don't care, and when the population, when the government loses control, and they will, trust me, they will, there's going to be an opening to fill that vacuum. And unfortunately, I see, possibly civil war along with World War III. Our debt is just, it's ridiculous. Our debt is ridiculous. We have terrible leaders, and I don't know, I hope for the best. I really do. I don't want anyone to suffer in the long run. I hope we make it out of this. So guys, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video.